Hello once again and welcome back to another episode of Father and Sundays, the unexplainable guide to absolutely nothing. This week is episode 118.
118?
So 118, just like the guys with moustaches. And we are talking about Walt Disney today.
He had a moustache.
That's true, yeah, so stick around if you want to hear more. Well, hello once again, Dad, to week 118.
118, that's a lot, isn't it?
It's a lot.
It is a lot. Soon will you stop saying the 1-1 whatever
probably
when it gets 120?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, we discussed it. It's an earlier one.
Did we really? Or we're repeating ourselves now, are we?
Yeah, when 120, I probably won't say it, but 130, I might say it again.
Oh, because it will sound like 113?
Yeah.
Okay, then. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Not too bad.
What's your name, sorry?
My name's Connor.
And who are you?
I am a blonde-haired bloke.
A blonde-haired bloke?
With blue eyes.
Blue eyes?
Yep. And I've got a beard.
And you've got a beard. Oh,
and I'm your son.
Yes, you are my son.
Who are you?
I am David. I am 55 years old. I'm a silver fox. I've got a little bit of a beard, blue eyes, and that's about it.
I like the fact you're going with silver fox.
Silver fox.
Yeah, you've still got brown hair.
It's weird. I'll tell you what, it does bother me now because I've come to terms with going grey.
Yeah.
Right, and I quite like it actually. It doesn't
I
bother
think
me
your
at all.
hair is a good mixture between it's grey on the sides.
Salt and pepper. But what it does,
What?
Salt and pepper. What it does is when
just
the
repeat it.
top. Yeah, no, I was just going to say it still don't make any sense. The top is a bit sort of like brown. It makes me look like I'm wearing a syrup sometimes, I think.
Syrup?
Syrup and fig. Wig.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so but I guess I wouldn't want it all to be grey. I don't know.
It's not all grey. You got a grey beard.
I've got a grey beard. I've got grey temples.
Yeah.
And
I think it goes back around the back of the head. Turn around. Turn your head. Keep turning. You see, your brownness dips down. There's still a bit of grey towards the bottom.
Is it?
Your brownness dips down.
My brownness dips down.
Yep.
Right, okay. But other than that, I'm quite happy with what's left of my hair. I wonder if
And you're my dad.
I am your dad, yeah. I wonder if I'll lose my hair.
Just checking. Because what about you're in my room?
Yeah, no, I am your dad, yeah. I've got identification and everything.
Can you show me?
I could do, but I'm not going to. I hope that my hair stays enough time to go silver all the way over.
Oh.
Rather than grey, but silver.
I thought you were going to say, I hope my hair stays long enough for an event to happen.
No. Well, it is an event for it to totally go grey because I've got a horrible feeling that it will disappear before it gets a chance. And that will be a travesty. Anything happened to you this week? Anything exciting? How are you feeling? You feeling good? Feeling upbeat? West Ham won again today.
They did, yeah.
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 And they won in the week as well.
They won in the week, yes.
Yeah.
That's twice in 1 week.
Good. You know, we should be up. We should be happy. We should be pleased.
Yeah.
A little bit tired, I think.
Yeah, I'm very tired, yeah.
Are you very tired?
Yeah, I'm very tired.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm okay.
You're okay, good.
Yep.
Glad to hear it. I've been running a little bit this week because I've got a race tomorrow.
Are you looking forward to it?
I'm a little bit nervous because I haven't really done anything like this for a while.
See, normally we've done this quite a few times where we record just before you go race next day.
Yeah.
So you could listen to this whilst running.
I could listen, and I did look, and you are allowed to wear headphones.
You won't be, though.
Earpods, not headphones. I'm not going to wear headphones. No, I probably won't anyway.
Probably can wear headphones.
Yeah, maybe. But yes, a little bit nervous. Haven't been running for that long again, and I had a few little blips in the road. Bumps
realised
in the
it's
road.
Almost a year since the London Marathon.
We realised this earlier on, yeah, that it's almost a year since I ran the London Marathon. That seems like more than a year ago in many ways. I got a PB. It was an absolutely incredible day.
Like
Huh?
Why do you keep talking like that?
Why do I keep talking about it?
Just keep going high pitched.
Do I?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. One thing I did want to cover.
That's what you're doing.
Well, you keep saying about the way I say things. So when I come to the end of a sentence, or when I want us to stop a certain bit, apparently I just sort of towel off.
Yeah.
And then now you're telling me I'm going high pitched, so I really don't know what to say about it all. Knickerbocker Glory. Do you remember our conversation about Knickerbocker Glories?
Yeah, we discussed it with Mum afterwards, the podcast as well.
Yeah, exactly. Now, it's something that in the UK we used to be able to get from something called a Wimpy bar.
They've still got Wimpies.
Yep, they don't do Knickerbocker Glories anymore.
What, in the Wimpies?
No.
They do in Harvester, don't they?
No.
No.
They do sort of Sundays and things like that, but they don't do Knickerbocker Glories. And in fact...
How about Beefeaters?
No, not in Beefeaters at all. In fact, they've got a very small section for sweets.
We don't know if they do Knickerbocker Glories.
Well, they do Knickerbocker Glories. We have a very famous ice cream parlour in Southend, quite famous around the world actually, called Ross's.
Rossi, yeah.
And they do a Knickerbocker Glory in there. But I think you have to go to particular places to get it now. It's not something that's fairly mainstream. So that might
Did you check the Beefeater website?
Yes, I did. Yeah. If you look at my search history, it looks like I'm looking for somewhere to eat and looking at all the menus in those different places. Also, we said Knickerbocker, it's a British thing. I think it originated in America by the look of it when I looked into it.
To be fair,
at
it makes
a Knickerbocker
sense,
hotel.
Do they call them Knickers?
They call them Bockers.
Oh, right, that might be where it's come from. Or
so
Glories.
There you go, yeah. So I was, it's not something that you can just go out and get anywhere now. So there you go, a little bit of information there about Knickerbocker Glories. You pleased with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Shall we talk about the main event then?
Yeah, so we're talking about moustaches today.
Yeah.
And different types of moustache.
Yeah.
You've got moustache?
I have.
I've got moustache.
No, I don't think I've got a moustache though. And we're not talking about moustaches, by the way, just in case you thought, I thought this was the Walt Disney one. But just on that point, I don't feel like I've got a moustache.
You've got a moustache.
No, I've got a beard. I think if you've only got a moustache if you've just got a moustache.
You've got a moustache as part of your beard.
Yeah, but it's a beard.
But there's still moustache there.
It's incorporating a moustache, but a moustache would only be a moustache if I didn't have the beard bit.
Okay, so if you shaved off the moustache part of your beard, what have you got?
A beard.
Okay, so have you got a beard and moustache?
Well, no.
If you shaved off the beard part, if you shaved off the beard part of your beard,
I'd have a moustache.
Okay.
Right.
So why can't you?
I don't know. I'm just saying. It's these are the things that I
Yeah,
need
the moustache
to
is part of your beard,
Yeah.
but it's still called a moustache.
Well, if someone said to you, "Have you got a beard?" I wouldn't say, "Yeah, I've got a beard and a moustache."
No, you wouldn't.
No,
but if
that's
someone
what
if
my
someone
point
says,
being.
"Have you got a moustache?" What do you say?
No, I've got a beard.
Oh, and they'll just assume. So if you did this without physically seeing someone, they might just assume that you have got no hair on your upper lip.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't say no. I'd probably say, well, I've got a beard. Incorporating
your moustache.
Moustache. Yes. Look. Okay.
Well,
so
who didn't have a beard? Walt Disney.
Walt Disney did have a beard. He was just mustachioed. So we're going to talk about Walt Disney.
Yeah, because it falls in line with something.
And what is it that it falls in line with?
I'll be honest, I can't remember.
Oh, no, that's hideous.
Oh, wasn't it the opening of Disneyland?
No, I doubt it.
Why? Because you've got the...
I think I looked it up, yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
No,
it
say
didn't.
something.
Disneyland opened in July on the July 17th, 1955. So it's not that. So really, I'm surprised that you don't.
But it was
Yeah.
the opening of Walt Disney World as of the 1st of October. So when this podcast releases.
So it's the anniversary of Disney World, out the one we've been to many, many times.
Yes.
Okay, so that makes more sense. Thanks for that.
That's
Otherwise,
all right.
that was going to get quite confusing. So we're going to talk about Walt Disney.
That's the whole reason we did this particular podcast.
It
in this
was,
day.
and we'd
Just
forgotten already.
so we forgot
Because we were
about it.
too bothered about moustaches. So he did have a moustache, but he wasn't born with a moustache.
No, because that'd be weird.
It would.
Because it caused some issues with friction, wouldn't it?
It would. He was born on the 5th of December, 1901 in Chicago, the Windy City. For some reason, they call it the Windy City.
Very flatulent.
He was the offspring of Elias and Flora, who already had 3 boys, Roy being one of them, and they had 2 more.
Okay, they're not named.
Well, they did have names, but Roy is the one that he worked with.
Roy Disney.
So
'Cause his name
Roy,
was, his
and
name
then there was Downtown Disney, his brother,
Yeah,
and
and
Duro's
Epcot.
Disney.
Oh, right.
Duro Disney, his other brother. That's it.
Hollywood
yeah, I remember
Studios.
Yes, that was the one.
But this is the thing. So Elias is his dad because his full name is Walter Elias Disney, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah.
And this is the interesting part because you think of Walt Disney, and I think when everyone thinks of Walt Disney nowadays, they don't tend to think of Walter Elias Disney. They tend to think of Walt Disney, the company. And this is probably worth mentioning that this podcast is primarily probably focused on it was starting to focus on Walt Disney the person,
Yeah.
and how his legacy became Walt Disney. So it doesn't just focus on the company. I think
Yeah.
we're talking about the beginnings of the Walt Disney Company.
Yeah, talking about his journey to that
Yeah.
point. I mean, there's no secret the fact we love Disney in all elements of Disney, to the TV
Yeah.
shows, to the films, to the
'Cause-
actual theme parks.
Because he died prior to because we're talking about, because this coincides with when Walt Disney World opened, which is
Yeah.
the Florida park, Magic Kingdom in Florida. However, and two of the hotels that were there as well. But he died before that was happening. But it was still a big project for him, wasn't it?
It was a big project for him, and all of these have been sort of, I don't know, visions that he had. But
Yeah.
from an early age, I mean, he did have a sister, by the way. I just wanted to fill that in. His sister was called Ruth. She was his little sister, because she was born after him,
Because
she was
named
a
after-
baby. So she was little.
and she was named after the roof of the house.
Yes, she was. Yes. His father used to move around for work. I think he drove a bus. No. His father was one of these people that could put his he put his mind to anything, right? So he had various jobs, but I think he did different bits and pieces. But one of the main things was, or sort of had an impact, was he took over a newspaper. And at that time,
Hostile takeover, or
I don't know whether it was hostile or not, but he bought it out, and it was his
so
company.
he came from money.
I don't know if he came from money or not, but this was
Walt
Elias.
Disney did.
Oh, well, there you go then.
So Walt Disney must have, because Elias bought a whole newspaper.
Well, I don't know how big a deal that was then, but basically, obviously you didn't have any other media. It still would be media, wouldn't it? So everybody got their information from the newspaper, so it was quite a big deal. And that was Walt Disney's first job. So he was quite young, unspecified age, because I thought I'd read it that he was 9, but when I went back to double check it, I couldn't find it anywhere.
Oh, right.
But he had his first job delivering papers. I think he struggled a little bit with life and with what was going on around him. I think it was a fairly large family. I know people had large families there anyway. But he was also showing a interest in art. And what I thought was quite good when I started reading about him was that his parents encouraged him in that area. Now, you I guess it's, you just feel like families at that time would want their children to take up something that would earn money, that would get a roof over their head, and perhaps work, encouraging him to the artwork is quite a precarious sort of thing to do, and sort of indulging in that sort of thing. Even though nowadays you'd see that as, for instance, if you had turned around to me and said, I really want to go in this direction with something.
Although, to a certain extent, that's the way things were shared back then, is you couldn't just... It was cheaper to have someone doing art and doing a artist rendition of things rather than to...
Yeah, but whether they were visionaries themselves, or they saw that he had the talent to do something that could go somewhere with it, or whether they just felt that he had a passion for it.
Did he make cartoons for the newspaper?
I don't know if he made cartoons for the newspaper because he was too young at that point. I think later on he started doing drawings on the side of... Because he worked
I think he was a
Red
cartoonist
Cross.
in his school newspaper.
Oh, in his school newspaper. Oh,
Yes.
There you go, yeah. He idolised his brother Roy, not his other brothers, Downtown and Euro. Now Roy was eight years. Ruth. He doesn't mention Ruth. 8 years his senior, but he eventually left home and went to live with Roy. And I think it was a bit sort of, as you would imagine, if you had your 8-year-old or if you had your younger brother turn up and live with you, it could have been a bit of a problem. But they seemed to get on and they sort of worked together. And there was always that connection between the two of them, which went through all of their professional careers, really, all the way to the end as far as Walt Disney was concerned. He tried to join the army in 1918, but was rejected because he was too young.
He forged.
Falsified his papers to get in, and was in the medical division of Red Cross, and that's where he started drawing cartoons on the side of the ambulances and things like that. So he was obviously showing some sort of talent for it. He married Lillian in 1925, and they had a daughter, and some years later adopted another little girl.
So they adopted as well.
They adopted, which at that time was quite a big thing, I would imagine.
Well, even nowadays it's still quite a big thing.
But
for
it is
someone
quite a big
adopt.
thing, but you know, I would imagine at that point, I think without going down that route, his wife and him, they had some problems, and I think they had a few miscarriages, and then they had a daughter, and then I think there was a risk for them to have another baby was a big risk. The doctors told them, so they then adopted, which wonderful thing to do. Yeah. But I think the family unit was pretty tight.
Father and Sundays present Things You Didn't Know That Happened Ages Ago.
Did you know that the last year that the guillotine was used as a death penalty in France was the same year as Star Wars was released? Also, when the pyramids were being built in Egypt, woolly mammoths still roamed the earth. And the year Nintendo was founded as a company, a certain Jack the Ripper was loose and terrorising the locals in Whitechapel. Okay, so he had a few false starts with his businesses. Again, a lot of these were with Roy. Roy certainly looked at the financial side of it, whereas Walt was more the creative.
Yeah, it was even in later development and stuff. He always is done. Basically, he's the one in charge of the money. Walt was all creative and all like, let's do this, and Roy was the one that went, no, hang on a moment.
Yeah, we can do that. We can't do that. They had the Kansas City Film Ad Company first of all. Then there was a Laugh-O-Gram Film Studio. They did Alice in Cartoon Land, which at the time was fairly unique because they would have, if you think about something, like a lot of people have seen things like Mary Poppins, so you've got live action
mixed with cartoons,
but that way round, that you've got a cartoon world with an actor in it.
Yeah.
And that was unusual. They had done it, but the opposite way round.
So like a real world with a cartoon in it.
Yeah.
Like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. So basically, well, that has both elements in it, that particular film as well, doesn't it? So it's fairly unique. Went okay, I think. They made quite a few of them. But then he moved on, and the next thing that he was involved in, or one of the big things he was involved in, was Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Yeah, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. And this is the thing with that one is, wasn't it? It held the rights were held by a different company.
Well, I think what was normal then was the distributor had the rights to it. Yeah. So his distributor, I think, after the first season or a number that they'd done, thought, hang on, this is really popular. I've got the rights to this. He, I think, said that not only was he not going to pay him the same money or more money for it, he was going to pay him less, and also that he ended up taking half his staff as well and bringing them into his company. So it was all a bit.
And so basically Walt Disney's first creation in terms of big kind of characters like that. Everyone assumes it's Steamboat Willie, then Mickey Mouse, whatever. In reality, it is Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, and that's something that's come actually in recent history has come back under the Walt Disney Pictures.
Has it really?
Yeah,
I didn't realise
they
that.
now own the rights of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit once again.
Oh, right, okay.
Because do you remember there was a video game called Epic Mickey?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And the whole intention of that is you go into this like lost world. It's like the Disney theme parks.
Yeah.
They're all like falling apart and stuff like that because Mickey spilled this ink all over it, and then he gets sucked into it.
It's a really good game,
like
actually.
that.
I remember that now.
But it's almost like an alternative if there's lots of stuff where Mickey's lots of stuff and the evil one is meant to be Oswald, but you realise he's not evil by the end of it. But so Oswald isn't that.
But then a lot of things happened.
And they've made new cartoons of Oswald
that,
the
have
Lucky
they?
Rabbit,
right. But
he's
then
a big thing now.
he had to
I like
invent something else. So he said, I want to make a cartoon mouse, and I'm going to call it Mortimer. And I think his wife, Lillian, said, no, I don't like that. I'm not a big fan of Mortimer. And she was the one who came up with the idea and calling it Mickey Mouse.
Do you know what's interesting is he was going to call it Mortimer, but it was even though they moved away from calling it Mortimer, the name Mortimer stuck with them. And I believe, I might be wrong in saying this, but I believe there's a kind of rat that tries to, or this other mouse or something, that keeps as a recurring character amongst early Mickey cartoons.
And that was called Mortimer.
Minnie.
So it was almost like the villain of the piece then, yeah? Oh, right, but I didn't know
I might
that.
be wrong in that.
Oh, right, no, but certainly...
Can you tell I've read the biography? I was going to read the biography for this episode.
Yeah, I know you were.
How did that go? Time. It's just I've been so busy.
Busy.
It's up on the shelf. Maybe I'll read it after this.
Well, I tend to do that. I end up reading a lot more after we've actually done it and realise I could have done a lot better. So there was... when you think about it now, I know all things, you know them as certain things, but the thought that there wouldn't have been a Mickey Mouse and it could have been something different just doesn't sound right.
Well,
but then
again, it's one of the intentions of the game. But it's
unreal.
mad, isn't it?
So there was a couple of silent films of Mickey, but then, and this was very much how it seemed to work with Walt Disney and Roy and the companies they were in. Then sounds started coming in and being used within these films. So they
very similar style. Sorry, I was just going to say with the Oswald thing, the early Oswald thing, and very similar style. The early Mickey Mouse and the Oswald. That's you can tell that by the same artist.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen certain ones from there. So the sound was coming in. So they were the first ones to start using things like that as well, and always at the forefront of it all. So Steamboat Willie was the one that used a lot of music and a lot of sound within it, and was quite revolutionary for its time, sort of thing.
Have you watched many of the old classic Mickey Mouse?
I've watched a couple of bits, but nothing majorly.
A lot of them are on Disney Plus.
Oh, I may have to have a look at that. So that was Steamboat Willie. There's been many other films with the word Willie in the title.
Oh, right. Like Free Willy?
It's like Free Willy, Free Willy 2, The Adventure Home, Free Willy 3, The Rescue, the direct-to-video Free Willy, Escape to Pirates Cove, Willy Wonka, Wee Willy Winky, and When Willy Comes, and finally Willy Dynamite. So
now,
all these
new
films...
Willy Wonka film is just called Wonka.
It is. And I don't know if it's going to do... And that sounds a bit
like the rude word.
It does, but I don't know if it's going to do as well because it hasn't got Willie in the title.
Interesting. There was also a jockey called Willie, wasn't there?
Willie Carson.
Yeah.
And
Willie Do It?
Willie Won't He?
Willie Won't He?
The guy I used to go to school with that was really indecisive.
Yeah.
So he did that. Then he was doing the Silly Symphonies.
Yes.
And that gave him his first Oscar because, again... they'd done a couple, I think, and they were doing one called Flowers and Trees, and they'd already done quite a bit of it, and then colour was starting to be introduced into these things, and he said, right, I want to redo it, and I want to redo it with colour. And of course that people weren't very particularly happy with that because they'd done so much work on it already. But they redid it in colour, won an Oscar. It was the first animated short that ever won an Oscar. So again, he's a trailblazer. He's doing things and taking chances. Let's face it, there was a lot of when you see about the companies that were involved in and that, he did take a lot of chances and it didn't always work out for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
But eventually he's in that particular point. So that's brought him on to things like 1937 when Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Because that was the first feature length, wasn't it?
That was the first feature length one, and the rest they say is history.
And you can tell, that's something funny. Like if you look back at it now, it has aged, but it's still fantastic in the way it's been done and the amount of work that would have got into it as well.
Well, quite because you realise, I mean,
drawn frame by frame. Isn't it?
Classically now. I mean, I know now they're able to do stuff on computer. There's still a lot of technique and still a lot of work goes into it, but. In fact, it's a different sort of.
In fact, like even now, if someone was to do a drawn frame by frame, it's still the same amount of work it used to be.
Yeah,
to an extent.
It's
maybe
just using,
there is
I suppose it's just using different materials and different medias and mediums, I should say, and. But it's still an incredible amount of skill goes into these and imagination.
Because that's what's interesting. Sorry, when you look back at early Disney things, and where they're all because there's a lot of work that went into each individual thing, like doing the background or animating something frame by frame or something like that. You sometimes see things recycled, don't you? So you watch two Disney
I
films.
think you've got something like Jungle Book and Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, Jungle Book and Winnie the Pooh is a classic example.
They've shown the same sort of frames
if you
from them.
watch them side by side, the characters do the same thing.
He walks over a log or whatever across something.
And like sometimes the backgrounds are used again and stuff like that.
Exactly, but then, it's just an expensive thing to do. So that now we've got the Disney Company. Now we've got Disney pumping out.
Walt Disney Company, wasn't it called?
So you got Snow White. And then there was a succession of them like Fantasia, Pinocchio, Dumbo, Bambi, Cinderella. These are classic stuff. Quite often...
Bambi's one of the few films that make me cry.
Is it?
Used to make me cry.
I watched it 1 year.
They're going to make a live action remake for that.
Oh, that'll be even worse, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're looking at real animals. Yeah. Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland.
Although I will say Lion King, Mufasa dying in Lion King was never as bad as in the cartoon.
Really? They didn't quite get the gravitas of it.
The lions couldn't, like, in the cartoon of it, the animation, you could... Simba, you could see how sad he was. He had facial expressions and stuff like that. But when they did live action, they wanted to look live like it.
It wouldn't have looked like that.
These expressions.
Oh, that's true.
Anyway,
I don't think I've seen the live one. Peter Pan, which is a particular favourite of mine. Lady and the Tramp, Sleeping Beauty, 101 Dalmatians. It just goes on. The Sword in the Stone. This is taken up to about 1963 now. Then there was quite a pivotal one, and this used, like we talked about with the live action and animation and vice versa, Mary Poppins in 1964, which was a huge point.
It was a huge point because I know you're probably about to say this, but just from my own knowledge, it was Mary Poppins. There was a bit of an issue in terms of money, and he wanted to fund a theme park, and so. In fact, you can't really talk about Disney nowadays without people going, the theme park, or also thinking about the theme parks, because there's loads across the world. But there was obviously the original one in Anaheim, in California, and to fund the theme park, they created the film Mary Poppins, and every single penny of the money that profit that was made from that film, minus obviously paying the staff members and the cast and stuff like that, but every single penny of profit that was made went directly into the creation of Disneyland, California, which is fascinating, really.
But again, a real that was a big risk to take.
It was, yeah,
because he had a vision for these particular things.
They made a whole film about that one, didn't they? Called Saving Mr. Banks.
Yes, because the actual writer of Mary Poppins wasn't sold on the idea of letting Disney use it and make the film. So I had to be convinced in order to let them have the rights to do that. So, but that was a big pivotal point in the Walt Disney story sort of thing, because that took, although they continued, you had Jungle Book, Aristocats, Robin Hood, Winnie the Pooh, and then all the way up, obviously, I'm talking now past his death. But, they've continued to make these films. They continue today to make these films.
Because like Aladdin and Lion King and stuff like that came out after he died.
But even, I think he died in 66. So the Jungle Book was after he died. Yeah. But obviously, it continued this sort of thing that it was a stream of one arm of the Walt Disney Studios that they created these things. He sent his artists off to school. He was very. We talk about the technology in that and all the stuff that was coming in, and he embraced it and brought it on board. But he was interested in the artists he had, taking them off to different places in the world, taking them off to these schools so they could learn and they could continually improve what they did, which really is why they continue to be so successful. I mean, I'm quite obsessed with looking at what they now talk about as Imagineers.
See, because they were never normally called Imagineers. He fondly called them Imagineers, and they actually were part of a separate company, weren't they?
They were, yeah.
Part of WED Industries. Was
WED,
it WED?
Yeah,
Industries?
WED, yeah.
Which I think stand for Walter Elias Disney.
Yeah, no, it did. Yeah.
But it was under a different name because he had Walt Disney Company and he wanted WED to be a bit separate. But that's where like a lot of the theme park stuff stemmed from as well, from WED. It's basically just a bunch of people playing around in a
it was
building.
To a certain extent, and although he was quite a taskmaster by the sound of it, he did give people room to create.
Yeah.
And money as it is with things, you get a company, there's not a lot of spare income, or it doesn't appear to be that they can let people perhaps have projects that may not amount to anything, but there was very much a sort of environment of people to push the envelope, as they say, and just go in different directions. So, I mean, he talks about the idea of playing with his girls, and he was obsessed with railways, so he had this railway track that went round there, and they used to go on there. But a big
one that he could sit on.
Yeah, he used to take them to parks, but he'd sit and watch them play. And he talks about wanting to be with them, playing with them, enjoying stuff with them, doing stuff with them, rather than just sitting and observing them enjoying themselves. And that's where apparently this was all born. We talked about the Mary Poppins profits. He got a lot of investors involved. He had to find a location. Again, each time, it's really... So you look at it and you think, how on earth are you going to do this? How on earth was this a good idea?
So in terms of the location, what was interesting is he managed to jump ahead of the curve, didn't he? Because the location he chose in Anaheim was pretty... It was empty, for one. It was big empty bit away from all the main stuff, but it was part of a growing area, like not far from a growing area, which meant that even though it was out the way for the time being, by the time it opened, but it wouldn't be for that long.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. So he put it all together. This was going to be Disneyland. Disneyland opened on July the 17th, 1955. Very chaotic by the look of it. I think there was a load of counterfeit tickets
as well. Because they had too many people in, didn't they?
Yeah, overrun with people because loads of people had tickets that had been forged. There was a gas leak, which meant a lot of the rides weren't able to be operated.
The water fountains weren't working, were they?
They melting pavements, like, because it was so hot and they had
sinking into the pavements.
But it was still a huge success. And people kept coming back again and again and again because it was different. There were other amusement parks, but it was something different about this one, and the way he approached it.
It got slated by reviews, though, didn't it?
It did get slated by reviews, but
the public enjoyed it.
And that's the thing. The public just kept coming back. There was something about it. There was something different.
There was a lot of people complaining that it wasn't finished either.
And it wasn't, to a huge degree, finished.
And then he said, as long as there's still imagination in the world, it would never be finished, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And in a way, that's a get out clause, so it's always going to be
and
changing.
This is the thing. We've been to Disney parks. We've been to Florida and stuff like that a number of times, 5 times actually. I have, but I know you've been there more. But that is there's always something new. There's always something being developed. There's always something being built.
And obviously things being replaced as well, which people get very sentimental about these things as well. But
because even if we spoke about this earlier, and I know you've probably got more to say there, but in terms of his legacy, because he died before the Florida project was completed.
Well,
however,
that's exactly what I got down here. I mean, he died on the 15th of December 1966, aged 65. And Disney World Florida opened the 1st of October 1971. But he already had that vision for it. He already knew what he was going to do, but he wasn't alive for the actual opening of it.
Yeah, exactly. And he like you said, he already had that intention. But I think it's fair to say that the guy, though there may be historical things that can be a bit, I don't know. Well, he had certain views and certain things.
Well, I'm not sure he did quite have the views that people over the years have said about certain aspects of his personality. But to be honest, in
the grand scheme of things, I think the legacy he's left, and granted, I think the Walt Disney Company is very different from what he would have. Well,
I think at the time he was forward thinking. We've talked about Epcot, and Epcot, when the actual theme park Epcot was not supposed to be like that. It was supposed to be a community. It was supposed to be.
What does it stand for again? I forgot.
Oh, I can't remember. I should have looked that up. But basically, it was supposed to be this
something of tomorrow,
new age city of tomorrow, where people lived, and it was about recycling. It was about power from different elements, solar power, and there was all sorts of things that now we take for granted.
Experimental prototype community of tomorrow. See, he always had this intention of this is what he wanted. So he did have the idea for Epcot, but not in its form that it ended up being. No. He had an idea of building a city of tomorrow. You can even see it in Magic Kingdom, can't you? A model of an idea of his city of tomorrow. Because he was, though he pushed for things in terms of how his parks ran and how things in the industry went. For example, audio animatronics was a first. So if you think about it, they've always been at the forefront of robotics to a certain extent. He's always pushed for more. He always had this dream of having his own community and stuff like that, or having an ideal community built. Now, in reality, it didn't work out exactly how he intended with Epcot, because Epcot was turned into a theme park, but it still kind of shared some of his ideas. There was Celebration that was built in Florida as an ideal community, as like an. We've
actually visited there.
We have visited there. It never worked out quite as probably intended. I think because they had to. I think eventually they had to sell it, but it was built as a Disney, and they made some money from it. But yeah, it's.
But the thing is with it is that obviously there's always going to be a battle between. The ideas and the financial side of it and what is viable. And obviously, over the years, I think Disney's been run by people that were more interested in the money. Mm-hmm. And then
we could do a whole nother episode on the Walt Disney Company.
Yeah, and people that were more interested in pushing it forward and trying to maintain. I think it's gone through periods where it's not had the name and the brand that it once had. But I think nowadays... all I'd say is he had an idea that you'd go into this park. I mean, when we talk about particularly the parks, if you go into this park and you, for a period of time in that day, everything around you disappears. All your worries, everything about that. You are somewhere that's not like no other place. And I've been to many amusement parks, but specifically Disney ones. You immerse yourself in it, and if you let yourself go, it can be an absolutely incredible. And I love those places. And there is a feeling, and the people in it make it. The staff, they are very
cast members.
Sorry, they are very. They don't. I've never been somewhere like that where for the entire time I've been there, I've never seen anybody falter.
That's the thing with the cast members thing. It's the reason they're called cast members, not just employees, not just people who work, their staff, whatever. They're called cast members because they are helping to build this experience for their visitors.
And they do.
And every single employee of Disney, and that's not just the people in the parks, all of them are called cast members because they build this experience for their visitors, for the public, everyone's part of this creation that is Disney, which I think is quite a nice thing.
I think they work hard.
I mean, people do try to steer away from the word employees or associates, like even in my employees or staff, because in my business they're called associates. But
yeah, I don't even think they call my work. They don't call it
foot soldiers.
Yeah, but no, I think they achieve this feeling, this attitude, this suspension of the actual believing what's around you, and actually as an adult going to a place like that and feeling like a child.
Did you know Epcot opened on the 1st of October as well?
I did not know
a
that.
Different year.
Yeah.
1982, but on the 1st of October as well. It's interesting, that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So there we are. And that's the point we're at now. And as you say, we'll probably talk a lot more about specifics and maybe even parks, particularly at other times. But certainly,
for the time being, this is about Walt Disney, the person,
and what he created.
I think it's time for a little song.
For a little song?
Or, well,
no, it is
a
a little
long
song. Well, it depends
How
what
long
you
is
think. I think it's just over 3 minutes long.
Just over half hour long.
Yeah, it's an epic sort of opera. No, it's a song that I've written. It's about...
You wrote it.
I did, yes.
Yep.
It's about a particular theme park.
Which one?
That he created, which is Magic Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom.
And about...
Magic Kingdom...
Well, it's not specific to whether it was Disneyland or Florida. Let's say
reality,
Florida because that's my experience.
They only really got referred to as Magic Kingdom after Magic Kingdom in Florida.
All right, let's say Florida. It doesn't really matter. But basically, it's about a feeling about immersing yourself in it, like I said, and a little tongue-in-cheek knock at one of the particular rides. And it's called... The Castle at the End of the Street.
All right, I'll give it a listen.
There's a place we go where the love is shared, where you're serenaded by country bears. You forget your worries, cast aside your cares, and smile. Be a pirate sailing on the 7 seas. Fly a rocket that's orbiting Mercury. Be anything that you wanna be. That's fine. Ride a runaway train through the mountain tops. Take a jungle cruise past hippopotamus. The haunted mansion is a terrifying must. You'll be happy that you came. Ride a magic carpet, drive a speedway car. Have your picture taken with that rogue Jafar. Make a wish upon a shining star. Your dreams will all come true. Take a lovely ride through a storybook. Meet Mickey Mouse and have your picture took. See Peter Pan fight Captain Hook, and forget the world outside. Ride a runaway train through the mountain tops. Take a jungle cruise past hippopotamus. The haunted mansion is a terrifying must. Your life won't be the same. There's a castle that will make make you smile. Well, you'll want to stay for a long, long while, where an adult can act like a child and take part in make-believe. But there's a ride that I just won't go near, with a song that will make you want to cut off your ears. It's the worst tune that you'll ever hear. It's a steaming pile of sugar-coated poo.
Game time.
What a nice song. Now let's play a game.
Play a game? You want to
Yeah,
play a game?
I want to play a game now.
Well, I thought about we could have one where I could hold up cards with pictures on, or I could race you to the end of the garden.
Yep.
Or perhaps, we'd have a sponsored chest shaving or something like that.
Yep.
But what I plumped for in the end was a multiple... I've forgotten what we called it.
Choice.
We did this last week. A multiple choice quiz.
Ah, right.
Right.
We don't normally do those.
No, we don't. So I thought for a change, I'd do that. So do you want to play my sting for this particular one?
Yeah, how many questions are there going to be?
10?
Ah, I thought you might have done 100 because Disney's 100
No.
ship. Okay.
Does he know his theme park facts? Or will he fall into our traps? I guess it's time for us to see. Disney know he's Disney.
What a lovely sting.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed
Yeah, I
that
did
sting.
enjoy that
It's-
sting. It
Well,
was good-
actually,
good.
I quite like that sting.
Yeah, it was a good sting, that.
So,
Very enjoyable.
Disney know it or Disney not?
Ah, as in, does he know it or does he not?
Yeah, like the sting.
Like the sting.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Right, some of these are quite tricky, actually, because, I don't know
so
how much...
what's your confidence level in terms of me in this quiz?
Well,
Because
I don't wanna put-
I have quite a lot of knowledge of the
Disney.
Walt Disney Company.
Yeah. I don't know. A solid 5, right?
I think it.
I
Yeah,
reckon you'll do better
Okay.
than that, to be quite honest
solid
with you.
5 out of 10.
Yeah.
So you're predicting 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you reckon?
I'm gonna set my standards low and say 1 out of 10.
Wow.
But I reckon I'll get 7. I'm gonna
Right.
aim for 7.
Let's see who's
I'll
right.
aim for
then.
7, but I reckon I'll get 2.
Oh, 2 now. You've gone
Yep,
up
gone
one.
up. I'm feeling more confident.
Right.
Maybe
okay.
3.
So let's start this then. Let's get the ball rolling. Question 1.
Mickey Mouse.
Walt,
Oh.
short for Walter Disney, was given his first name for what reason? Was it A, it was his mother's maiden name? Was it B, he was born in a paddling pool, a water birth? So it's not that one. Or was it C, he was named after a minister friend of his dad?
A minister friend of his dad.
That is correct. He was named after Walter Parr.
Water Park.
Water Park, yeah. He was a good friend of his dad's.
Splash Mountain.
Question 2. That's 1 out of 1. You've nearly meet your expectations already.
Yep.
Question 2. Walt Disney's first feature-length animation was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but the dwarfs' names changed several times through development. Which one of these was not a potential name?
So hang on. So these ones
So,
are these real life dwarfs? Are these the actual dwarfs?
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs
or small people?
was written, and none of the dwarfs had any names. But when they picked it up, Disney, they gave the dwarfs names.
Yeah.
But they gave them various different names over the period of time when they were developing it. They ended up, we all know what they ended up as, but which of these wasn't one of the original ones?
Okay, so the ones you're listing me now are ones that
You wouldn't have heard of, probably.
Okay, so none of these are going to be actual ones they ended up as.
No.
Okay.
but one of these wasn't any of them.
Okay, go ahead.
Wow. A. Burpee. B. Fluffy. C. Wheezy. Which one of those was not one of the dwarf's names in the development through that film?
Fluffy.
That is correct. Well done. 2 out of 2. That's it.
Well,
Might as well stop now.
no, I upped it to 3, didn't I?
Oh, well. You keep saying things like that.
No, just before you started, I upped it to 3.
Okay, question 3. This might be a bit tricky. Similarly,
What the word was going to be a bit
because I
tricky.
knew I can't say that very well.
But the actual question's fine.
Daisy Duck, Donald's longtime squeeze, had a I don't know why I added that in. Had a change of name. What was she originally called? Was she called A. Donna? Was she called B. Debbie? Or was she called C. Crispy?
Well, I think I know which one it's not.
Okay, so was it? Which one do you think it was before I give it
Crispy.
away? Okay, so was it Donna Duck or was it Debbie Duck?
Debbie Duck.
Oh no, it was Donna Duck.
I thought that's
It
too
don't
close to
sound
Donald.
right. Yeah, I know. I think that's why.
Maybe that's why they changed it.
Question 4. Walt Disney made many profound statements in life, but which one of these did not pass his lips
That we know of.
that we know of? A. Disneyland will never be completed. It will continue to grow as long as there is imagination left in the world.
I don't think that one was said. I'm joking.
B. There is nothing funnier than the human animal. Or C. The haunted mansion is built on an ancient Indian burial ground, so the ghosts are very real. Which of those did he not say? Was it Disneyland will never be completed, it will continue
No,
to grow?
it's not. That one he did say.
Okay, so is it that he said there is nothing funnier than a human animal, or the haunted mansion is built on an ancient Indian burial ground, so the ghosts are very real?
I think there was something along the lines of him trying to actually say to people, "No, the ghosts are real in the haunted mansion." There was something along those lines that they tried to do.
So you think the thing he didn't say was there is nothing funnier than a human animal? I'm going to have to push you.
No, I'm going to say he didn't say the ancient burial ground one.
You're going to say he didn't say the ancient burial. That
Yeah.
is correct. He didn't say that. So that is 3 out of 4.
But I do think he did say something about the
He
ghosts
did
being
say
very
something
real.
about ghosts, but he didn't say anything about an ancient
I
Indian
just don't think
burial
I've
ground
heard the
because
B one.
I believe if he'd have said that, they'd have been in a bit of trouble as it was anyway.
He said something about it. The ghosts are very real because
Yeah.
of something, though.
Yeah, but it wasn't to do with an Indian burial ground. Right, question 5. Which of these celebrities did not work at Disney? A. Steve Martin. B. Kevin Costner. C. Kevin Bacon. Which of those did not work at Disneyland?
Disneyland. Because
Disneyland.
Steve Martin has worked for Disney. He's been in films
Yeah, no, worked
and shows.
at Disneyland. So one of these didn't work there. Steve Martin, Kevin Costner, Kevin Bacon.
I can't remember what Kevin Costner looks like.
Kevin Costner, Robin Hood. We were talking about it the other day because of, sadly, that tree being cut down.
Yeah.
He's been in loads of things, Kevin Costner.
Kevin Bacon.
That is correct. Steve Martin, 8 years when he first, which he first opened. When it first opened,
Yep.
he was 8 years there. He sold guidebooks at Frontierland. That's what I said.
You sold.
And worked as a magician at the Magic Shop on Main
He
Street.
looks like a magician.
Kevin Costner was a tour guide on the Jungle Cruise.
See, isn't it mad though that he Well, that actually makes sense for an actor to work as a tour guide on the Jungle Cruise.
And he actually, his first wife was Snow White in Disneyland.
Oh,
So he met her and married her. I don't think he was
and then
married.
broke up.
Yeah.
But Steve Martin, he suits a magician actually. But isn't it weird how they go on, and Steve Martin's worked with Disney a lot of times.
Yeah.
As how they kind of stick. They still got respect for the company.
They've still got a relationship with the company, but started.
Like for example, Only Murders in the Building he's doing at the moment.
And that's Disney as well, isn't it?
I think the final episode's tomorrow. Not tomorrow, sorry, Tuesday.
Question 6. What was Walt Disney's favourite attraction at Disneyland?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Pirates of the Caribbean? Was it the Disney Railroad? Or was it the Haunted Mansion?
He loved trains, so I'm just going to go Disney Railroad.
Unfortunately, he did love trains, but that wasn't the answer. It was Pirates of the Caribbean. He was interviewed just before his death and said the one with the pirate ships and cannons, talking about a ride that was in development because it was always the next thing for him.
Ah, fair enough.
Right? So that's why he did that.
So it was in development, it wasn't actually made yet. So was it really his favourite ride?
That's what he said, because he would never say a ride that was already there. So it wasn't a trick question as such, but it was like
A trick question.
Question 7. Walt Disney.
How many have I got right so far?
Do you want me to just
Should we
check?
just do it at the end, or
No, I'll do it now. 1, 2,
why are you doing
3, 4,
Stop doing the accent.
4. Yeah. 4. You got 4 out of 6 at the moment.
Okay.
Walt Disney had 2 daughters. What were their names? Was they
One was adopted.
Sharon and but that was not her name.
Oh, right.
Sharon and Tracy. B, Sharon and Diane. C, Diane and Charlie.
Oh,
So Sharon and Tracy.
Sharon and Tracy.
No, it was Sharon and Diane. So that's 4 out of 7. Question 8. Why was Disneyland closed on November the 23rd, 1963? Was it A, JFK, Jack Kennedy had died the day before, so they closed as a mark of respect? Was it B, they found a giant turd in the It's a Small World ride? Or C, a group of pirates held a demonstration outside the gates as they were upset of how they were being portrayed in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride?
Stop knocking your mic.
Sorry.
A.
That is correct. So that's 5 out of 8. What did you say, 7?
Dad's got his tablet today instead of his normal paper, hence the reason he keeps knocking it more.
Yeah, sorry. So this is a penultimate question, and you could still get 7 out of 10 if you get the next 2 right. Question 9. What does every Disney princess actress have to do before becoming a princess? Is it A, they have to work in one of the Disney outlets for a week? Is it B, they have to wear the costume 24/7 out of sight, performing other tasks? Or is it C, they have to don a furry, non-face costume for weeks to learn their trade? So do they have to work in the outlets? Do they have to wear the costume 24/7 but out of sight of the car?
No, they don't have to.
Or do they have to don a furry costume for weeks to learn their trade?
Right, can we just clarify? Try not to use the term furry costume.
Why?
Do you know what furries are?
Clearly not.
No. Okay.
All right.
We'll have to have a conversation afterwards, but it's
Right.
a fetish thing.
Oh, is it? Well, you know what I mean.
They have to go in one of the costume ones. The full costumes.
What? So they have to don a furry, non-face costume for weeks to learn their trade?
Yeah.
That is correct. They do. So you've got 6 out of 9.
They refer to themselves as friends of, like, if they play Cinderella at the park, they go, I'm a friend of Cinderella, is what they have to say as their job role.
What, when they're playing Cinderella?
So not as their Cinderella. When they're Cinderella. But if anyone asks what their job role is, like what they do in the parks, they have to refer to it as I'm a friend of Cinderella.
Oh, okay. Question 10. What was Walt Disney's favourite song from his films? Was it A, the Unbirthday song from Alice in Wonderland? Was it B, A Pirate's Life from Peter Pan? Or was it C, Feed the Birds from Mary Poppins?
Feed the Birds.
That is correct. 7
I
out
think
of
I've seen a
10.
clip of him singing it.
Huh?
I think I've seen a clip of him singing it or something like that.
And that is the end of my little Walt Disney Disneyland quiz.
So I was actually quite accurate, like with my guesses how many I'd get.
Well, yeah, because you said you'd get 1, 2, 3, or 7,
Yeah.
and you got 7.
Yeah.
So you've
And I
done
also
well.
got the other ones.
What, 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. But yes, yeah, well done. No, you've done well there.
Thank you.
I tried to make it more
Tricky.
Walt Disney and less my passion, which is sort of Disney World, Disneyland sort of thing. So, but yeah, you done well there. 7 out of 10.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's quite
Putting
all
that one in my
right.
CV.
You do that.
Yep.
Right. That's it then for another week.
It is. It is indeed. Just quickly,
Yeah?
if anyone does want to send a message to us, they can do so on the website, fatherandsundays.com, and go to the Contact Us page, or they can email us at contactus@fatherandsundays.com.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm very careful with that one now.
Yeah, I know you are. Yeah, I was just waiting for you to do it again.
The website has a lot of great things on there, but it includes all the episodes. But you can get all the episodes in the chosen podcast platform. We're available in pretty much all of them. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, not WhatsApp. I was about to say WhatsApp. We're available on those. Like, follow, share. Tell your best friend's nan about us.
I will do. I imagine we are quite out there on social media.
Nope.
No?
But
Is that going to get better?
Yes.
Okay, then. That's good. I'm glad to hear that because I am concerned about that. But yeah. Okay. So next week, are we going to talk about next week or the next episode? We like to say the next episode because
just in case.
Well, I know what it is.
I don't.
I'm just wondering if you do. I'm waiting to see the fear in your eyes when you notice what it is.
I remember what it is now. So the
Okay.
next episode is at this point intended to be fantasy. So we're talking about the genre fantasy.
So we'll be talking about our favourite things and films and such, but also
maybe even write our own fantasy stories.
I think that will definitely happen.
Yep.
I'm looking at you now. So
I'll write 3.
will you?
Maybe.
Blimey. Well, I don't think you should. I think you should rein that in slightly because
All
I'm
right, at
thinking
least
about
one.
yes, there you go. And I will be writing 1, and we shall review them on the next one. So it's goodbye from me.